What's happening, people? I am what you need. You're watching my channel. I'm going to talk all things boxing in this segment. As you can see, you can join by simply going to the StreamYard link right there. Come into the studio, chop it up. As you can see, it's very informal. So feel free to drop in. We're talking about fights that happened over the weekend. I'm filling my face. And hop on in. Links right there. Of course, you could also leave comments in the chat section. So we're going to chop it up. It's not just about the weekend fights. It's also things that are transpiring as we speak. So you can talk about any topic. I'm going to just chop it up. Okay. Interrupt me, say whatever you want. Ask whatever you want. I don't care. And you can cover any topic. Today it's free for all. But I'm going to start off with the weekend fights. So we had Javier Mungia. He took on Gabe Rosado over the weekend. That was shown on DAZN. And it's a good fight. It's a good fight. I didn't watch the undercards. I just looked at that fight. Mungia has significantly improved as a fighter. Significant. The jab is fine, fantastic. I love how he stays off center line and throws his combinations. That's how you're supposed to do it. Off to an angle. The beautiful, crisp, beautiful combinations. Dante's footwork has improved. Sharper, crisper. And for a big guy like that, thumbs up. Gabe Rosado always fair game. Gave Mungia a little test. Didn't really catch him in anything perfectly clean because Mungia was riding the punches. Didn't really catch him in anything really clean. Mungia was moving with the punches and stuff. But made it interesting. Mungia was catching Rosado with overhand rights. And every now and then like left hook. So defense, again, Mungia figured himself to be defensively responsible. Rosado was still hitting him. I'm just saying he rolled the punches more. At the end of the fight, Mungia called out Triple G. All right, cool. So we'll see if Triple G answers that call to face Mungia. I think he has Murata, who he has to face down the road. You tell me what you think about the fight. Mungia versus Rosado. Rosado had a spiritual performance, but it was a losing performance. So I don't really I don't go too much more into that. The next fight I want to talk about is we go across now to PBC. And we had the Benavidez brothers You fought on the same card. The first one I'm talking about is Jose Benavidez. Jose Benavidez actually had a tough fight in which the judges decided to give the decision his way. Some people, it was a close fight. Some people thought the other guy won. Fight ended up being a draw. Some people screamed robbery. It was a relatively close fight. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a tremendously bad decision. It wasn't a robbery, but I thought the wrong guy got, shorted. Again, this is a problem in boxing. And this is not the first time Jose Benavidez has been a beneficiary of judges' decisions. If you do recall, he also faced Mauricio Herrera, and he got the decision even though he's repeatedly being caught with overhand rights, which ironically, Terence Crawford caught him with a right hook and knocked him out. And I always feel if the judges would just judge the right guy, it may spare the boxer down the road being exposed. But this is what it is. So, Jose Benavidez at least got a decision that was something that didn't hurt him too much. This is what it is. On to David Benavidez' fight. David Benavidez versus Byron Davis. At first, Byron was kind of controlling the action. But Benavidez kept on bringing the pressure. And while Byron Davis was landing punches on Benavidez, and Benavidez was doing something very, very wrong, Peter Quillen paid for. If you do that against Canelo, you pay for it, which is reaching in with your shots. You throw the jab and reach in off the jab. So he's overextending himself. And his chin is up in the air when he does it. So from a southpaw stance, I pop the jab and I'm doing this. My chin's up in the air because I'm reaching. Try and find you. Don't do that. Always stay in balance. David Benavidez. That's for you. I'm not just a fan sitting down in a couch. Let me fix that soon. The other thing is, Byron Davis kept on catching Benavidez in the middle of his counters. He threw 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punch combinations. But they're all the same thing. You have to mix up your shots, David. It's not just about speed. So you're not just throwing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 punch combination. I know what you're doing. Mexican fighters do it. Oscar De La Hoya did it. Sugar Ray Leonard did it. Where you throw a bunch of flurries. And then you land your heavy punch. You need to learn how to pick your shots better. Because when you throw flurries, they are all at the same speed. Somebody will time you, and it will counter that, as Byron Davis did. But I like Canelo. He'll catch you in between your flurries, stop you and hurt you in the middle of it. David Benavidez, this is for you. Nobody else. Carry it to David Benavidez. Watch it, Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. I think it was the third or fourth round. De La Hoya gets Floyd in the corner, and he starts throwing off his flurries. And Floyd counters in between those flurries, and Oscar literally drops down but catches back his balance. I'm going to tell you why. When you throw combinations with regular tempo, I don't care how fast they are, you can time it. And if the guy is riding and rolling your punches, he's moving with you, he has timed you. Which means if he throws a counter in between that, and that's just off his defense. If you're rolling the shoulders, for example, I just have to throw a counter off the shoulder. Just throw a counter here. I could throw it here, and then here, and then here, and then here. I don't even have to block the shot. I can, like if I'm coming here, catch and shoot, right? I come here, then I'm going to come here, right? So if I come here, I can throw here. You see? Whoop, 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 whoop. So it's catch and shoot. It's dangerous. So and especially when you square up in front of an opponent trying to throw combinations, you need to throw it off an angle. Look at Javier Mungia versus Gabe Rosado. When you're attacking a guy, two things. Errol Spence is very good at it. Go watch Errol Spence. When you're attacking a guy with a jab, you don't come straight at him. Stupid. Coming off an angle. You come to the side of him. You move off to the side of him and you approach him that way. And please stop reaching. You're going to get tagged and bad. You're counting on your length. You're counting on your reach. So the guy can't catch you on your chin from so far out. But all the dude has to do, especially as you come into him, so the guy's here, right? You're coming with your jab. And what am I going to do? Inside, to the body. Okay? Your chin up in the air, you're going to get uppercutted. Straight down the center. I just have to slip you, or I can rock the other way and throw a hook. And I'll catch you with a hook and you're going to drop. Just like what happened with you. And what's that kid's name? The European kid with the heavy hands. He check hooked you coming in. You squared up. You came at him with the jab. He threw a check hook and you were on the ground. So David Benavidez, it's for you. There's so much you need to learn with your D. Your D is not good at all. At the elite level, you think you're counting on your size, and that's not going to work with a guy like Canelo. Canelo will chop you down. Okay? So work on your inside game. Work on varying your combinations. Don't just throw the same left, right combinations. Mix up the combinations. Throw one to the head, one to the body, one to the head, one to the body, one to the body, one to the head. Javier Mungia again. All right? If I'm coming at you, I'm going to do it orthodox style. All right? I pop my jab, but notice I slide in or I stab in and I move back. Not going to pop my jab and reach with my jab. Don't do that shit. Because the guy's right outside the range. But trust me, he can close that distance and make you pay for that. So I'm coming in off my jab. Keep maybe double guard. This might be a safer thing. All right, I'm coming on off my jab. I'm on my back foot. My weight is resting on my back foot, but I'm inching in off my front foot. Or if you want to go on the front foot, fine. I'm on the front foot, but I'm ready to snap back on my back foot. Okay? Right. And I'm coming in off my jab. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing. If I'm coming in off my jab, okay? Notice I'm off on an angle. I'm not going to come in directly in front of my opponent because he can counter me. He can counter across my guard and hit me here or hit me here. I don't want that. I want to reduce the risk. So I'm coming in off my jab, off an angle. See, I'm coming in off a jab, off an angle. Coming at you off an angle. And that's important because you want to be in a position where You're on the weakest side of your opponent. He has to turn to find you. You want to make him turn to find, and if he doesn't calculate the angle properly, you free rein to his body because you're off to the side of him. You throw your combinations off the side. Head. You shift that head off to the center line. Off the center line. Okay? Head coming in off the center line. Look at Errol Spence. Okay? Look at Errol Spence. He does a textbook. So that's my advice to David Benavidez. Just because you big and long, don't mean a guy can cut the distance, especially if you're going to him. It's easier when a taller guy is coming to you because now he does the work for you of cutting the distance. He's going to go up to a certain level, yes. But if you're good and you time him good, you'll know how to slide to the inside. And if you slide to the inside off a jab and your chin is up in the air while we trading jabs, you're going to get hit. You're going to get stunned. Okay? So I'm just saying this as a fan. I do a little bit of boxing, and I also observe things, and that's something you need to fix fast. All right, you're young in the game, but you got to work. It's not just working the jab and just popping the jab. You have to have other things, and footwork is very important when you're working a jab. Anyway, enough of that. So, yeah, there's a couple of things that David Benavidez wasn't doing right, and that's why the other guy was able to outbox him and last so long in the fight. He abandoned his game plan. David Benavidez was starting to throw combinations, and Stephen Bregman Williams was telling the young man Baron Davis, he was telling him, listen, don't let him throw combinations. And what he was supposed to do was throw a disruptor jab in the middle of that, so David Benavidez wouldn't be so close. And from there, keep him off and just keep precise footwork and just circle him. And he was supposed to keep calm. He started to offload all his energy after that, and he was blowing his load. And Stephen Bregman knew that wasn't the game plan. You can't play that. You have to be cagey. You have to be one step ahead of the guy. You have to be able to use your footwork to circumvent him. You have to work around him. And you have to keep on wearing him down with little jabs and frustrating him and wearing him down. So Stephen Bregman Edwards realized that was not what the guy wasn't following the game plan. He left the game plan. So that's why he threw the towel in. The guy was slowing down and everything as well. So Chiron, don't feel how about it. You were supposed to stick to the game plan. You didn't stick to the game plan. So because of that, at the end of the round, Stephen was like, you're taking too much punishment. He knew what he was saying because you're not supposed to take that punishment. If you follow the game plan, you ain't going to take that punishment. But Chiron was able to at least do it and maintain that for a couple of rounds. Of course, David felt like he was getting closer and closer, and he was also doing more things. Like he would add the double jab to the jab. So first he started with jabbing, then he added the double jab to it as he found the right range and right distance. So he felt like he was doing what he needed to do, and it was just a matter of time and at the pace at which he was going. But Chiron was actually controlling the pace for about the first 5 rounds. But then, when David caught him with a couple of combinations, he decided he was going to rally back at him, and that's when everything just went downhill. So, David was able to land a whole bunch of combinations. But those guys, you have to keep them off balance. You have to keep David off balance. And it's not because you can't bang. You probably can bang. You probably can bang very well. But that's not a fighter you want to bang with. You don't want to be a banger. You want to be a strategic technician. So I would suggest to Chiron Davis that you go and pay attention to the most recent fight that Uzcategui had. His last fight was with a guy from Mayweather boxing gym. I forgot what his name is right now. And he lost that fight to the guy, and the guy boxed him. And I want you to look at it, understand the composure you need to have. You don't go blitzing a guy. Yes, you make sure that he doesn't run through you, but you don't go blitzing him. You have to control him. And so go watch that fight between, I forgot what the guy's name is from Mayweather boxing gym, and Uzcategui, and that'll give you an idea of what to do when you handle a big, tall guy like David Benavidez. Anybody big like him. Big guys, you got to control them. You got to discipline them. It's all about range. They may be longer than you, but you have to make sure and establish range. Another person you should watch at is Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar was longer, taller, stronger than Floyd, and he was able to discipline him and control him. All right. So it's all about timing. It's not so much about speed. It's more about timing. You know, a perfect example of this would be go watch Juan Manuel Marquez versus what's the kid name? This was a welterweight fight. The guy was taller than him and everything. Brandon Rios faced that dude. Forgot what his name is. But go watch that fight, because that fight again would show you what a shorter guy who is not as quick as the other guy, what he can do with his timing. Timing is everything. It's all about getting the other guy's timing, and you can move with him. You can move. If he's a little quicker than you, they might have to do the odd beat or whatever, and just vary your range to accommodate that. But at the end of the day, it's all about timing. You know, forget about speed. It's about timing. I'm not the quickest dude in the world, but I got good timing. Well, I'm working on my timing. I'm not saying I have good time. I have good enough time. All right. So this is some of the things that you have to work on in your boxing game. You know. Okay, so that was Benavidez versus Kyron Davis. He got Kyron. Well, the corner threw in the towel when Kyron Davis taking too much punch. Kyron Davis is the point, but you got to understand it's chess, not checkers. And then we go to Kid Galahad. He had a fight with Kiko Martinez, and he thought he was going to watch Kiko Martinez, and the fight started that way. He was punching Kiko Martinez, and Kiko Martinez came with a leaping right hook, or a leaping right. It was like a straight right, leaping right, something like that. Caught Kid Galahad flush, right? And that was at the end of the round. He knocked him down. And at the beginning of the round, he froze Kid Galahad with I think it was a jab. And then he hit him with the same punch and knocked him clean cold out. So Kid Galahad has lost the IBF championship at featherweight. And the new featherweight champion now, believe it or not, is Kiko Martinez. That's a huge accomplishment for Kiko Martinez. Shout out to Kiko Martinez. Great stuff by Kiko Martinez. I never thought in a million years Kiko Martinez could beat Kid Galahad. And that's the beautiful thing about boxing. So in the late stages of his career, Kiko Martinez is once again IBF featherweight champion of the world. It's crazy just thinking about it. But we had so many upsets in boxing of late that this doesn't surprise me. But we may have some more before the year's up. So we'll see. All right. So those were the major fights to talk about. Upcoming fight, of course, Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter. That's coming this weekend here. So that's the big buzz. And, you know, who am I picking to win? I think Bud's going to win. Don't know how. I'm curious to see how he handles Sean Porter's style. And the only reason I picked Bud is there are two reasons. One is Sean Porter, for some reason, the judges just don't give him a break. They don't give him a fair shake. You know, it is what it is. He puts out tremendous amounts of work. He works very hard. He may win. He can win the majority of rounds, but he might get buzzed by a guy once or twice, and then, they rule it the other way. And I just think that the only way Sean Porter will win this fight, I think, is if he clearly beats Terence Crawford. Probably has to drop him, or knock him out or something like that to really clearly win the fight, because Terence is the favorite. Terence is the marquee guy. Sean has had better fights. Sean has probably made more revenue, but the guy that ESPN is going to be backing is not Sean. It's going to be ESPN and Fox is backing. It's not going to be Sean. It's going to be Terence. Terence is the dude, and I'm sure he's going to show up and he's going to do his thing. So we'll see. But yes, I picked Bud to beat Sean Porter in a very rough and rugged, tough but interesting fight. Let's see if Terence can clearly win or what he's going to do. I don't know. I'll love to see his performance. But I know they've been talking as the fight is leading up to the fight day. Now, if Sean pulls off the upset, again, Sean, I don't count on Sean. If he can pull off the upset, that'll be great. Terrence is a fantastic fighter, and he is a switch hitter. So that brings a whole new set of angles and stuff to the table. And he switches on the drop of a dime. Jerome Ennis is another guy. You know, when I talk about two guys, I think that, you know, if Floyd Mayweather have stayed in boxing for some reason or the other and just stayed there, I think these two guys would beat him. And Jerome Ennis and Terrence Crawford. And just look at what they can do in either stance. That's what I'm saying. You know, Terrence is the dude, and you know he's got that mindset like Floyd. He's got that discipline like Floyd. Jerome is the same thing. He's just bigger than Terrence. So I mean, it's just those two guys are pushing the sport in a whole different direction, where you open up a whole new set of angles by being, you know, having multi dexterity. So it's pretty crazy what that brings about because of that sort of added dimension to a 3D experience. So I mean, they're the next, man. They're the next generation of fighter. And unfortunately for Terrence, he's not been getting the big fights. I'm sure the door will open to him after this fight. He just has to get the W. So if he can do that, of course, Sean's going to really be gunning for it. He's going to be really hungry. So Sean could definitely upset the apple cart. I just think that Terrence brings a lot more to the table. You know, Sean also switches and stuff, but not to the level that Terrence does. So I just don't know. I think Terrence is going to take this one. Canelo Alvarez is talking about facing a cruiserweight champion, a recently championed cruiserweight from Africa. How do I feel about that? I don't feel too good about it. I think he should face David Benavidez. I think that's the guy he should face next. And the reason is I understand the challenge of going up to a new weight class, but that dude, he's a southpaw. I get it. But Tony Bellew, destroyed him. I mean, he did knock down Tony Bellew, but Tony Bellew is nowhere near the caliber of fighter that Canelo is. And this dude who's at cruiserweight, he's a southpaw. He's got, you know, good fundamentals, you know, sharp, you know, but he don't got nothing special about it. Like, what I mean by that is he's sloppy-ish. Cruiserweights are generally sloppy. They're big guys. But the other thing about it is he don't have quick twitch muscles. He's not quick like that. You know, he's slow. He's plodding. You know, he can be a little bit light on his feet, but he's slow and plodding. And he's just not, like I said before, Canelo is just levels above him. The only thing you have to ask yourself is, can Canelo keep him honest? And then from there on in, it's just the Canelo show. I mean, he's quicker than the dude, more mobile than the guy, faster than the guy, you know, puts together more combinations, has faced southpaws before, so he knows how to deal with that. I mean, just about everything that you can think of, Canelo's ready for. So it's like, yeah, you're moving up to a new weight division. You'll be in 5 weight divisions, but that's not the lineal champ. That's not the best guy at that division. None of that. So it's like he just be testing the waters, maybe. But other than that, there's nothing really else to say. I mean, you know, I think it'd be better if he just stayed at 168 and defended his undisputed title against David Benavidez. That would be a better fight. And I still pick him to win against David Benavidez. It's just that I would love to see that more than him again jumping. It's kind of like the Kovalev thing, except Kovalev was an actual name. This guy is like it's like he's trying to steal out a stay busy fight, and this is his way of doing the stay busy fight. You know what I mean? Jump up and wait and face somebody, which is something that guys back in the day used to do. But I just don't find it. It's not very intriguing to me. It doesn't do anything for me. I've seen this guy. This guy has been stopped twice in his career. Not to say that that's something that you should, you know, toot your horn for, but the dude, I mean, as a cruiserweight, he's all right. Don't get me wrong. There's a reason he's a world champion. You know, he's all right, but he's not finished. He's not sharp. He's not none of that. So I just see him getting beat down by Canelo from round 1 to however long the fight lasts, and I guess Canelo will stop him as well. So because he's open for the lead right hand, he's open for the lead right hook. You know, he's open. He gets done with the check left hook. So I mean, he stays on the ropes too much. and he don't have the defense. He just have this. He just have a two guard, and he stay on the ropes with two guard. You can't be doing that shit. You can't be doing that shit against Canelo. You saw what he did to Callum Smith. I don't even know if that dude will survive. He might get stopped. You know. So me personally, I think that Canelo should face David Benavidez. He been not really interested in facing Demetrius Andrade. I heard again some people saying, "Oh, that fight don't make money. It don't make sense." Well, guess what? Rocky Fielding fight didn't make money. It didn't make sense. Wherever the guy was that he defended the WBC title against, didn't make money. Didn't make sense. So what are you really saying? At least people will have peak interest in him facing Andrade, even if Andrade comes up in weight to 168. People be interested in that. Jamal Charlo, people be interested in that. Anybody who's a boxing head knows Demetrius Andrade is a buzzing name. Now, if you want to say it's high risk, low reward, whatever. I think it's not high risk, low reward because Canelo's a superstar. So what if he gets beat? He got beat before, so it's not a big deal. You know, they have a rematch. That's all. I don't get it. He's not facing Demetrius Andrade. He's not facing Jamal Charlo. He's not facing David Benavidez. And the more he does this, the more he ducks them or avoids them and keeps on facing other people, is the more people are going to say, well, you just ducking them. And if he never faces them at all, or he faces them late in their careers, you've been in 2 divisions with these dudes. 2 divisions. It's been more than 7 years you've been ducking these dudes. We're talking about from way back in 2014 to now, 2021. It's almost 8 years you've been avoiding these dudes. Okay? Both Andrade and Charlo, you never faced them. And it's been 8 years, more than 8 years, actually. It's 9 years. Okay? And it's 8 years. So let's say 8 years, because Trout was around at the time. And I don't understand why he's not facing them. That's what I never understand. David Benavidez, Jamal Charlo, and Demetrius Andrade are 3 like ghosts on his profile. It's like, why are you not facing them? You had an opportunity to face all 3 of them, right? Charlo was your mandatory. Demetrius Andrade was the last guy you needed to unify 160. And David Benavidez is right now a guy who's a contender in line for your WBC title. Why, Canelo Alvarez, would you avoid David Benavidez? There'll be 3 guys that you would have avoided, and that would not be cool. And the fans are not going to forgive you for it. Now, I don't think that Caleb Plant was a cherry pick. I don't think that Billy Joe Saunders was a cherry pick. I don't think that Callum Smith was a cherry pick. I don't. Those guys are legitimate champions. Callum Smith got short notice, though. He got short notice. But Billy Joe Saunders, he just didn't believe in himself. If he believed in himself, he'd have beaten Canelo. Caleb Plant did his best. He just didn't know what to do when he gets knocked down. And those were quality guys. Even Sergey Kovalev is a quality guy. Everybody knows who Sergey Kovalev is. He hasn't fought since then, but he's a quality dude. Now, having said all of that, Canelo Alvarez, I think is a great fighter. I think he needs to develop his outboxing game a little bit more. But other than that, I think he's a great fighter. And I see him going up to cruiserweight, beating this dude, and coming back down, hopefully, to either light heavyweight or to super middleweight. My guess, he's going to come back to light heavyweight. I don't think he'd go back to super middle. Something just tells me that he wouldn't do that because, again, he'd have to meet David Benavidez. It seems as though he doesn't want to face David Benavidez. He definitely doesn't want to face Demetrius Andrade, who clearly is a threat to him because Demetrius Andrade hasn't lost a fight since amateurs. And apparently he is a horrible fighter, but Caleb Plant is not a horrible fighter. I don't understand it. They have the same style, but whatever. And Demetrius Andrade actually stopped more people than Caleb Plant. So I don't know what he's talking about, but at the end of the day, and Caleb Plant hasn't faced anybody really of note. I mean, he did face a world champion. Demetrius Andrade hasn't faced a world champion yet, but at the end of the day, I want to see him against Demetrius Andrade, and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? That's a fight I really want to see. That's the fight I think that makes the most sense to me, and as a fight fan. That's the biggest challenge out there, I think, to Canelo. Not even Benavidez. Benavidez is big, he's strong, and all of that. But I see Canelo outboxing him and beating him up and just doing a number on him, even pushing him back because Canelo basically is quicker than him. So it's you know he's gonna be quicker than him. He's gonna be quicker than this cruiserweight dude too. So but it is what it is. I think that Canelo needs to face guys who actually can give him problems. So if he thinks that David Benavidez is too tough a task or something, I don't understand. I really don't understand. And it's not like the dude up at cruiserweight, you know, he would go somewhere like he would get beat off or something. I don't see that happening either. So cruiserweight's not that great a division anyway. So, but I mean, that's what it is. I just think that he should, go through the gears, go through the process. But whatever, man, whatever. So that's all the boxing fights I'm going to talk about tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's 7:48, only 7:48 in the night. It's very early. It cannot be. Is it really that early? November 17th, too. Yes, people. So what you need, leaving the building. I hope you guys have a good one. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace. Are we ending or what? Come on, end it. Come on, man. What is wrong with this? I don't know.